and welcome to the Health and Fitness Marketing in Today's Landscape webinar, where we're going to help you better connect with your audience amidst these unprecedented circumstances that we're all living in. So Taboola is used by over 20,000 companies to reach over 1.4 billion people each month. But today we're going to take a zoomed in approach and look at health and fitness brands. So what's included in health and fitness? Medication, doctors, supplements, gyms, digital fitness platforms, and so much more. So we'll get into all of that today. I'd also like to take this time to direct you to the GoToWebinar control module where you can chat and ask questions throughout. My name is Sydney. I'm a copywriter at Taboola. I've worked in content marketing for 4 years in both the health and fitness industry as well as the ad tech industry, and I've been at Taboola for just about 9 months. So the number of adults who've either intended to try or have tried digital healthcare is increasing, and the number of those who haven't yet is going down. This means that there is a sales opportunity for health and fitness brands, and it's pretty big. So planning your online campaigns is critical for the decision and research stages of the health and fitness buyer journey. We work with publisher partners around the globe and recommend their readers content. So through those partnerships, we can see readership patterns of over 1 billion people. This is just a snapshot of how many page views we've seen trending in the US alone. So it's clear that the health and fitness industry is having a moment. And if you're not using this time to reach your consumers, you may be missing out on an opportunity. So since coronavirus, traffic has increased across the board. And this makes sense. I mean, in a pandemic, consumers are going to want to take control of their health and wellness. They're going to bring it into their own hands, and they're going to seek ways to bring fitness, health, and wellness into their own homes. But it's not enough to just know that health and fitness is having a moment. You have to know why. So articles related to coronavirus in the US have totally eclipsed readership, and for good reason. There's been articles about the virus itself, how it spreads, how it's diagnosed, and more, and it's really been a point of focus, not just in the US. The same has held true in the UK and other regions around the world. So in addition to being able to see page views and traffic by topic, we can also see insights into the behavior of different audience segments. So in looking at an audience segment who's interested in healthcare and fitness, we noticed a strong correlation to interest in these other categories. So basically what that means is if you're a healthcare reader, statistically you're also likely to read about Alexa, the iPhone, home improvement, and gaming. So these are just angles to keep in mind as you're thinking about themes for upcoming campaigns. So when we see these topics emerge, we can kind of lead to a few different conclusions. So for potentially the first time ever, people may be welcoming health and fitness into their homes, and they may be relying on their devices or their voice assistants and more, whether it's to schedule virtual doctor's appointments or use virtual fitness tools. And as far as the topic of home, I think that makes sense too, because people are looking for these solutions at home, whether it's home remedies, home workouts, creating a home gym, all of that is encompassed here. For gaming, there's kind of a few different explanations for this adjacent interest. As people are dealing with more anxiety and stress, they may be turning to gaming as like an entertainment outlet, or they may be looking for gamified approaches to their health and fitness, like sometimes how you'll see badges in a fitness app, for example. So these topics should really guide how you frame your own story. So here's an example. Let's say you're a gym who's never had a virtual offering, but now you've pivoted to having your trainers host classes via Zoom. So changing the language on your website, your blog, and all your other channels to better reflect the current environment of which you're positioning your product will lead to increased conversions. And even if you haven't made a big pivot during these months, weaving these themes into your marketing strategy will prove effective. People are really thinking right now about how to access health and fitness tools, and they're looking for ways to do it from home. So today we'll dive into how to make content that resonates and how to build campaign creatives that resonate. Let's start with content. So content is often thought as a top of the funnel initiative because it's not a hard sell, but in reality, content can actually move people all the way through the funnel. And content that performs well has to be mapped to the funnel. So you'll likely choose to focus in one area based on your specific needs, but here's just an illustration of how content can move consumers down the entire funnel. So, and these are content ideas based on overall readership trends we've seen. We base it off of 3 personas we've created. So there's Alex in the awareness phase. He doesn't know about you at all and isn't convinced that he needs your type of product or service. Then there's Anna. She's convinced that she needs your type of product or service, but isn't convinced that you're the one. There's also Joseph. He's in the decision phase, but he hasn't decided. He wants to buy from you, but he hasn't decided to buy from you just yet. Loyalty could be any of these personas. This is just how to keep consumers engaged and coming back for more. So let's look at this a little bit. I decided to use a fitness app as an example here. So for someone like Alex who doesn't know about you or his need for your product, you're going to want to just get yourself out there, whether that's, PR coverage or a case study from a successful client experience, or just getting yourself involved in the fitness conversation. And then there's Anna. So she knows she needs your type of product or service, but doesn't know you're the one. So this is where you want to give that backup, like you're the app that trainers can't get enough of, or a really in-depth explanation of your product. You need to convince her that you are the right one for her with content. Now there's Joseph, he wants to buy from you. He just hasn't made the decision yet. So maybe he needs to know it's so easy to get started, and you can remove some of the barriers that have been holding him back from getting started with you. And then in terms of loyalty, this is really your chance to shine, where you can show any of your customers that, you're adding new offerings, or there's a new way to use your product, or anything like that to continuously keep people engaged. So now we'll get into some graphs. So I want to just start by explaining the graph structure a little bit. So in order to identify the best opportunities for marketers, we look at two things: supply of health and fitness content on the open web and the demand for that content. Supply is indicated by the percentage of ad spend across our network in a specific category, and demand is indicated by click-through rate. We assume that if somebody clicks on something, they want to see it, or there's demand for it. So the areas where there's low supply and high demand pose the biggest opportunity for health and fitness marketers across the board. So here, for example, we're seeing that landing pages with photo galleries on the page perform best, despite there being the highest amount of ad spend on text-based landing pages. So this indicates that maybe it's time to try a photo gallery landing page and call it out in your title to see the best results. Like, just for example, 6 upper body moves you can do at home with pictures for reference. So let people know if there's a demand for photo galleries, and you're going to give them one on your page. So once you have the content, you need great creatives to distribute it. This is an image and a headline combination designed to attract clicks. So based on an analysis of millions of ads running through our network every month, we surface image and keyword trends that can help you build these creatives. So starting here, leaving animals out of health and fitness images and including food are shown to increase click-through rates by 43% and 34% respectively. And the same is true for opting for black and white images and female subjects. These are just a few of the elements that are showing to increase click-through rates in our network currently. So these trends actually change every week, and we surface them on trends.taboola.com, where you can really get granular by your industry, the platforms you're targeting, the languages and countries, and there's really a lot that you can dive into here. Also on trends.taboola.com are keyword trends, which can help you craft the perfect headline. So we break these into sort of 3 categories. There's strong engagement keywords. These keywords are seeing really high click-through rates, but there might be a lot of competition on them, so they sometimes will require higher bids. Then there's strong competition keywords. A lot of advertisers are using these, and we're starting to see a little bit of creative fatigue with them. And then there's opportunity keywords. These are up and coming. So we're seeing high click-through rates with them, but not a lot of advertisers have jumped on the bandwagon. So when you kind of lay these out for your specific industry, you can get an idea of which keywords to use, which maybe to avoid, and which you should start to think about because they're seeing click-through rates, but not a lot of advertisers are using them yet. But you don't have to just go for it alone and guess. We also have a predictive tool on the Trends website where you can enter in example titles, and we will actually predict which ones will work best based on our readership trends. So if you're curious where to start, just test your titles using this tool, and we will show you how they'll rank from top to bottom. In general, we recommend 9 creatives for each campaign. This is really easy to do by creating 3 images and 3 headlines that you can then mix and match. So here I put in a cheaper and easier way to eat organic, 12 things that happen when you get more sleep, 1 dermatologist must read summer tips, the no equipment arms routine everyone has time for, considering laser hair removal, read this first. I entered all of these in to try and get a gauge of what would work best. And you can do that too with any of the titles that you are currently working on. So in addition to what we see on the Trend site, A dive into some of our top performing campaigns across our network also revealed a few other trends to think about. One of which is audience call out. This is a really, really good one. So if you're speaking to a specific audience, call them out, like first time distance runners, people over 60. Let people know you know your audience better than anybody. So try calling them out and see if you can really hook people's attention that way. There's also timeliness. Think about upcoming seasons, holidays, cultural moments, things that you know that your consumers are going to be interested in, and be timely. Let them know that, those are a part of your editorial calendar. Letting people know that anyone can do it. Remove barriers of entry anytime you can. Let them know that it's easy swaps they can make, or it's simple to get started, or anyone can do it. And really let people know that, empower them to want to use your product or service. And then authority. And this one, it's important that you actually do have the authority. But if celebrity trainers swear by your product, or if it's doctor recommend or anything like that, your headline's a really good time to let people know that and show off your authority as to why you'd be better than a competitor. Okay, so where is your opportunity? A reminder that this is supply versus demand. In order to find the right people, you have to know where they are online and when you can reach them. So most health and fitness marketers are targeting consumers on mobile devices, as you can see by the ad spend. This is great, but there's a gap for consumers who are on tablet devices. Who knows? Now more than ever, people may be using their mobile devices to stay in touch with friends and family, and they may be using their desktop devices primarily for work. So tablets may come in as this sort of in-between browser mode where they're really, open to new experiences, products, and services. And that's why you want to try reaching them there, because there's clearly demand. And so this will come as no surprise to any of you, but we typically see huge spikes in demand for health and fitness content in the beginning of the year, but we also do see resurgences in later quarters. And I mean, especially within the context of the world we're all living in today, health and fitness content is so important. And it's just important for you as a marketer to not ignore that demand and know that people really may be out there trying to find the best possible health and fitness resources for them right now. So in terms of which day of the week, we see an ad spend increase on the weekends, but in reality, Tuesday and Wednesday are actually where the highest demand lies. So if you've kind of thought in the past, like, oh, weekends, people have more free time, that definitely makes sense. But from what we can see, there may be a midweek moment where people are sort of planning ahead or getting into that kind of consumer mindset, and you don't want to miss that opportunity. And then in terms of time of day, so we see that health and fitness consumers tend to consume content early in the morning or late at night. There's a big peak in midday ad spend, but it's actually missing those early birds and night owls who may be taking time to consume health, wellness, and fitness content. Maybe it's before the workday, before they head out on a run, or after a workout, after work. So try and reach kind of those outskirt times to better meet that demand. So you can also target by site, which means that you can make decisions about where your ads are placed based on the context. We recommend at first targeting wide, or actually even no targeting at all. And then from there, you can see which sites perform best for you and narrow down your spend from there. So something to note, so most health and fitness marketers on the open web are aiming to generate more purchases, which is likely because it's working for them. So look to your peers, and knowing what they're targeting can help you, and it's worthwhile to also target purchases and see if that works the best for your product or service. So now I would just like to run you through a few case studies from some of the healthcare clients that we've worked with in the past. First up is global healthcare company Novartis. So together with their agency Arabella, we helped Novartis leverage sponsored content to drive traffic to a really cool interactive quiz that they created to increase quality leads. And year over year, they actually saw a 133% increase as a result, which we were really excited to see from a really awesome campaign. There was also hearing aid company Hear.com. So their goals were really to reach, they have a niche audience. So they wanted to reach that niche audience at a bigger scale while still hitting their performance and acquisition goals. With Taboola, they were certainly able to scale effectively and efficiently, seeing a 10x increase in their traffic over 2 years. And they were able to successfully launch into 3 new markets that they considered to be key for their brand. So let's get into some takeaways. So health and fitness is having a moment. It really is. And you don't want to miss out on that now. Genuine content is key. This is always key, but I would say it's especially more important now than ever that you are providing real value to consumers and making sure that everything you put out there is really put out with your audience in mind. Test new targeting tactics, like try tablet devices, using photo gallery landing pages, launching ads in the middle of the week, and some of the other ones that we discussed. And then definitely stay up to date on the image, video, and keyword trends that are impacting the industry. We also have so much more information where this came from in our health and fitness benchmark report. I've included the link here. It's also in our resources center. Again, it goes into a lot of what we talked about today, but in even more detail and in a way that you can keep and kind of reference back as you go. So that is all that I had, and I'm now going to look through for some of the questions that you guys have submitted, and thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of questions. Thank you. So what's an inspiring health and fitness campaign that you have seen? I was really impressed by Headspace's campaign where they partnered with New York State to make their resources more widely available. You can tell that they clearly not only put a lot of thought into the initiative itself, but also just the creatives that they chose and the strategy that they chose. I just thought it was a really smart idea to form a partnership like that. Let's see what else. I'm seeing a couple questions about how the trend site that I mentioned works. So sure. So the trends.taboola.com, it runs every ad in the Taboola network, and it's updated every Sunday. So that information is weekly. And again, you can drill down by language, device, your specific vertical, image trends, keyword trends, that predictive title tool that I mentioned. There's a wealth of resources in there, and it's actually one of those things where it's harder when someone explains it to you, and it's actually easier when you just go in there and play with the different tools yourself. And I highly recommend getting in there. There's like really something for everybody. Let's see what else. You mentioned something about the amount of creatives you recommend testing. Can you repeat that? Yes, great question. I can repeat that. So we recommend testing 9 creatives. And the way you can do that, again, is with 3 images and 3 headlines, and then you just try different combinations of all of those to find what works best. So that is about all I have time for today, but I'm always open to more questions in the future. And thank you all again so much for tuning in, and I hope you found this helpful.